Ain't nothing burning, honey. Donna's cooking dinner.
Yeah.
And she's hot. Hi, welcome to Donna's Kitchen. Donna's doing dinner, and this time we're going to make hot pepper jelly. And what you do with this is we'll can it in a hot water bath, and then it lasts for, say, a year. What we will do with it after is put it on crackers with cream cheese and then some jelly. I've had it with sausage, and the jelly is awesome. And you can use it in different things. I'm even going to try it with a pound chicken breast out, and then do the cream cheese and put some jelly in there and give that a roll. But anyhow, I'll let you know how that one works out. But right now we're going to do hot pepper jelly. And so we're going to use the different colors of peppers. I've already ground up some green ones, green bell peppers. We will use some of the varied other colors, red, yellow, and orange. We'll throw in some jalapeno peppers from the garden. And it takes sugar, vinegar. We'll boil it for a minute on the stove, and then we'll put it into our jars and process it. And it's yummo. You can chop up your peppers either by hand with a star frit thing, or you can use a chopper, blender, and I find that works the best. You cover your pepper with water, and then you just chop it, and then drain it, and make sure you squeeze out the water really good. So I'm just pouring my peppers. I cut out all the little meat stuff inside. And I just cut it into big chunks inside my blender. I've made this recipe one time before this year. I learned it from my cousin's wife, Susie. And the first time I made it, it went bad. And I think it was because I didn't process it. This year I've decided to process, and I'm hoping that if it lasts that long, I'm hoping it makes for the season. Makes awesome gifts. You can cross stitch. You can wrap the jar in with ribbon. So here's some chopped. I'm just going to squeeze it. On for a matter of seconds, and then I'll click off, and I'll put it in my strainer. I like to rinse it just because sometimes they go foamy. I'm not sure why, but I like to rinse it. I'm just squeezing the water and the peppers that I have already ground up. And like I said, it's really important to make sure that it's as dry as it can be, so that the sturdo sets, I guess. Squeezing out the water before we add our sugar and vinegar. See how nice and dry that is? We have a
Kapow.
kapow.
Kung Pao.
Kung pao.
Kapow.
Pepper. We're gonna just try it.
No, not me. You.
Hot.
There it. Butter.
Smells good. It's good. It's hot. No, it's good. It's nice.
Good.
Yeah. So we're squeezing out the last of the chopped pepper with water. And then we can start putting in our ingredients and cook it. So we're gonna add 7 cups sugar. And how much vinegar?
Vinegar. A cup and a half.
Cup and a half. Cup and a half vinegar, 7 cups sugar, and 4 packages of Surto, the dry stuff. Then we're going to boil it for a minute, and then we're going to put it in hot or warm jars. And then we're going to process it on top of the stove in a cold water bath. Hot water bath. Something. Okay, so what I like to do now before we start actually cooking the pepper jelly is we put the lids into a pot with water and we'll get that boiling so that the rubber is nice and melted by the time we're ready to put the lids on. So I like to stack them one up, one down, just so that they don't all stick together when I go to grab them. I'm not fighting with them. So one facing up, one down. And we'll cover them with about 1 inch of water. Down. That's it. So we're covered with water. We'll put that on high. We'll let that boil for a while. Okay, so in our pot of peppers that we all chopped up and squeezed dry, we're going to add 1.5 cups of vinegar. So we have 6 cups of sugar. We'll put in 4 packages of the dry. Now we already did put in some of the hot pepper, but let's put in a bit more. So we'll just mix this all together and then we'll put it on some heat. We'll boil it for a minute at a rolling boil and then we'll put it in our hot jars. Let's go. So we have a bunch of jars that have already been sterilized in my dishwasher. But because we're going to do a hot water bath in a bit, I'm not sure that it has to really be sterilized, but I like to be better safe than sorry. So I'm just putting hot water in a canner. You don't have to use a pressure canner because we're not going to use pressure on it anyhow. It's just convenience sake, I have it upstairs. Okay, so we've got the canner heating up. Like I said before, we're not going to use the pressure on it. We're just going to use it as a hot water bath. We've got the lids starting to boil here. So the rubber is starting to soften up so that we're ready to put the jelly in the jars. they're ready to seal up. So, we have our pepper jelly almost boiling. We're going to have it a rolling boil for a minute. Then we're going to put it in our jars. We'll process it for 15 minutes in a hot water bath, but we won't use any pressure on the canner. One thing we always want to do when we can is we want to have clean, preferably sterilized jars. We always want to feel around the top to make sure there's no chips in the glass, otherwise it won't seal. And another thing you want to do is after you've put your peach or your pepper jelly or whatever you want put in your jar, you always want to take a clean, damp cloth and run it around the top to make sure that there's no food particles there, otherwise it also won't seal. So we're almost there. It's going to be so good on cream cheese and crackers.
Turn it off again.
Okay, so there's a rolling boil. We'll just take it off the heat for a bit. Our jars just came out of the dishwasher. They're still warm. My other jars I washed this morning. I'm not going to worry about them being hot. I'll do a couple jars at a time. You want to fill them almost to the top, but not completely, like a 1/4 of an inch left at the top. Just dampen it because this is sticky. And I run it along the top to get any food particles off. Our lids have been boiling for a while, so we're going to grab two. They didn't stick together because we put them one up, one down. And then, ouch. Don't do that. So we'll tighten them, but we don't tighten them too tight. Just so that they're tight. We're ready to put the jars into the hot bath. So we'll use our little handy dandy thingy here. It's okay if the jars touch. It's not a biggie. And once again, we're going to boil this for another 15 minutes. Okay, so we've boiled for 15 minutes, and now it's time to take our jars out. We'll put them on a towel. We keep them out of the draft because we don't want them to crack. And then we just let them cool. I like to wash mine with soap and water. When I'm done, when it's cooled off, you can leave the rings on, you can take them off, whatever you choose to do. After 24 hours, you test them. You'll hear them pop if they're sealed. If you press down and they don't pop, then you know that they're sealed. If they do pop, there's a pop. And if they're not sealed, then just keep them in your fridge and use them as soon as possible.
Good, delicious.
Yummy, yummy.
Yummy.
Cheers. Ain't nothing burning, honey. Donna's cooking dinner,
Ah.
and she's hot.